We are now going to implement the basic movement of the pair. Go to the project window, right-click and create a new folder, call it Graphs, and create another child folder, Character. Get back to the movement object. Click the New button to create a graph. We are using Graph instead of Embed this time. Select the location and enter the file name. Graphs are faster to load and easier to maintain because you are able to reuse them between different objects. In addition, visual scripting allows you to add graph while in pay mode, and changes made to graph will be saved when you exit pay mode. It's really great for testing and debugging. Now click the Add Graph button right here. First, rename the default state to idle. Then right-click and select Create Script State to create the run state. After that, right-click on the idle state. Then select Make Transition and connect it to the run state. For this transition, we are going to use the new input system of Unity. Never mind, I'm here to tell you how to use it step by step. The easiest way to use the new input system is to add the Paler input component. Then click on the Create Actions button. Unity will generate an input action asset, including some basic input actions like move, look, and fire. We have to use some input system related nodes in the graph. To do that, go to Add, Project Settings, Visual Scripting, find Type Options, add Paler input and input action into the list. Then click the Regenerate Nodes button at last. Don't forget to add two variables in the movement object, character and Paler input, to get the reference and use them in our graph. After that, double-click on that transition and you can edit it. First, add an onUpdate event node on the left-hand side. In order to get the value of move input action, you need to add an input action asset .findAction node, an input action .readValue as object node, and a nullCheck node into the transition. Also, check the object variables Paler input to the graph for the target reference of the findAction node, and add a Paler input actions node after it. We have to check the x value of move input action. If the absolute value of x is greater than 0, then trigger the transition. Now play in the editor and see the result. When you press the left or right arrow key, it should be able to change the state from idle to run, but it's not getting back. Therefore, we need to add another transition. We may copy the previous transition to use it as a base of the transition from run to idle state. When the user is not pressing either the left or right arrow key, then trigger that transition to enter idle state to run state. The one stage does not control the payload movement right now. Let's start developing this part. Now we need to get the value from move input action, then apply it to change the position of the payload object. I will explain how to do that. We have to add an object variable widgetBody2D before we start. Get back to the one-state graph. Then add an onFixedUpdate event node. An onFixedUpdate event node is called every 0.02 seconds by default. It mainly used for the physics calculation in Unity, and you may change that interval in Add, Project Settings, Time, Fixed Timestamp. We need to get the x value of move input action. Then use a mathf.sign node to handle that x value. Change it to 1 when the input value f is positive, or -1 when it's negative. And what we are doing here is calculating the translation of payload in 0.02 seconds. After that, get the original position of widgetBody2D and add the translation. Then use widgetBody2D.movePosition to apply it back. Let's have a test on it. Try to move. Oops, the character falls down. We have to enable the freeze rotation in widgetBody2D to prevent the rotation of the payload object modified by physics simulation. Everything seems fine for the one state. Next one is jumping.